The Star of Love. Written by Barbara Cartland. Narrated by Anthony Wren. Chapter 1, 1864. Damn you to hell! Do you hear me? Over the desk, one pair of blazingly angry eyes met another pair, cold but no less angry. The man with the blazing eyes backed off first, swinging away to move into the large bay window and stand with his back to the other man. Damn you, he repeated in a more controlled tone. You are a smug hypocrite, and you don't even have the honesty to admit that you hate me. The man behind the desk shrugged wearily. Would admitting it make any difference, John? It would be honest. Why not just say that I'm a thorn in your flesh, and that your world would be a brighter place if I died tomorrow, or preferably today? Charles Baxter, 10th Earl of Hartley, thought for a moment before saying quietly, In other words, you'd like me to behave as badly as you do yourself. His cousin, the Honourable John Baxter, swung round from the window as he faced his cousin across the elegant desk where the Earl kept his papers. You could never behave as badly as I do, cousin, he sneered. You haven't the gift for it. Behaving really badly is an art, one in which our family used to excel. By Jove, at one time this family made its mark. We could outdrink, outride, and outwench anyone in the county. And you regard that as something to be proud of? The Earl asked, and this time his eyes were really cold. Oh, stop being so sanctimonious. It was a triumph. It was how a great family was expected to behave. Yes, as though you were above the law, and oblivious to anyone else's wishes or needs. You call that greatness? I call it contemptible. The Hartleys were titans, and the world knew it. But now, look at us. You've become a virtuous prig, and there's only me to keep the glorious traditions going. The two cousins might have come out of the same mould, so alike were they. Both in their 30s, both 6 foot tall, long of leg and broad of shoulder, both with dark hair and eyes of deep brown. Their faces too had been alike at birth, but John's already showed the effects of dissipation. A ceaseless round of pleasure and idleness had blurred his once sharp features, and a nature in which petulance and selfishness had conquered all else had left a discontented droop to his mouth. His frame too bore the signs of self-indulgence, in a thickening of the waist that even the most expensive cut to his coats could no longer hide. A man once called as handsome as a young god was beginning to look more like a satyr. By contrast, the Earl still had that lean, upright figure that spoke of country pursuits, long hours in the saddle, and vigorous exercise. He both ate and drank in moderation, and the contours of his face were still youthful, something that seemed to drive his cousin John into paroxysms of rage. John was indeed in a temper now, caused by the Earl's refusal to pay a huge debt that he had carelessly tossed to him. It had arrived in the post 3 days ago, as so many had done before it, and Charles had promptly sent it back. The response had come quickly. John had come raging up to Hartley Castle and stormed into the library. "What the devil do you mean by sending these back to me?" he shouted, tossing the bills onto the desk. "My letter means exactly what it says," Charles had replied. "I've paid too many of your debts in the past, and this time I'm refusing." "You always refuse in the beginning," John had replied with the air of sneering assurance that was common with him. "And you always yield in the end." "This time I shall not." "You always say that too." "Listen, John, I have other claims on me. As head of the family—" "But are you, I wonder?" Charles ignored this remark. He had heard the story too often before, and knew that responding...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?